Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. So in today's video I'll be taking you through how to build a traveling app, right? So this is the UI for a traveling app from scratch in Flutter. This is not going to be a speed code. This is going to be a tutorial where I take you through the fundamentals of building UIs in Flutter. So if you want more content like this, beginner focused, then please hit the subscribe button, like and comment as well. So let's get right into the video. So as usual with this type of content, I break down the UI we'll be building into basic components and widgets, so that when we get to the code it will be very easy for us to implement. So let's first try to understand the UI we are having here. So the first thing is we have to break our UI down so that we know which widgets we'll be using, right? So on the welcome screen, this whole section of our app, if I increase my brush width, so this whole section of our app is going to be a column, right? And within the column we are going to have our hero image, right, which can be any image, not necessarily this one. And beneath it we are going to have our text, that's our hero text, and then another descriptive text and a button with some styles. So this is going to be the flow of our welcome screen, right? Now when we get to the home screen, this is going to be our app bar, and within our app bar we are going to have our actions. So the icons you see on the right are going to be in our actions, and if I position this well, right, and this is going to be our title. So the good morning and the text, the name of the user is going to be our title, right? And our title is going to be a column widget which will contain these two texts. Now next is going to be our card. So our card here it's just going to be a normal Flutter card, and within it we are going to have a row, right? So this is going to be a row, and the row will have the image of this card, which is going to be a map image, and then a column. So this is going to be a column, and this is going to be a column which has a text and then another text, right? Now when we get to this section, as we can see, this is overflowing the screen, which means it's a scrollable widget. So any of the scrollable widgets can solve this problem. And what we'll be using is a list view, right? So a list view, and we'll change the direction to horizontal. Now each category, right, or let me call it category for now, within this list view is going to be a chip with an avatar and a text, right? So this is going to be the workflow. We are going to have a list view, and we are going to also have chips within that list view, right, with some styles. So as you can see, we have some border radius and the change of text color and the rest. Now the next section is going to be a simple row, right? So this is going to be a row, and then we are going to have a text and then a text button, right? So this view all is going to be a text button. Now this section of our app, right, so this section is also the same as the category section, right, but this section is going to consist of cards, right? So let's focus on the cards. So this is going to be a normal card, right, just like the first ones, with an image, right? So we are going to have the card image and a text. So this is going to be a row, right? This is going to be a row which will have the text, the icon, and then the rating value. And the next thing is going to be another row which has the icon. So this will have the map icon and then the location, right? So if I shift this a bit, right? Yeah, so this is going to be our card design, and it will be for all our cards, right? So this is going to be for all our cards. And when we come to this section of our app, the nearby from you section, you realize unfortunately our UI doesn't have the nearby section. So this is also going to be the same as this section, but we don't have the UI for this session. So I came up with a UI from myself, inspired by another UI. So I'll bring that UI in, and so the nearby section is going to be this group tour section of this traveling app, right? So it's going to be very simple. So first going to have a card, just a normal card, and these cards are also going to be scrollable, right? And then within this card we are going to have our image, the name of the tourist place, right, or the traveling place, the location, and we will have this small illustration here as well, right? Then at the bottom section here, we are not going to have this, but we are going to have something different. So we'll be having a price, and we'll see that when we start the actual code, right? So this is going to be the workflow of our app, and let's get right into the video. So I have a simple app running, and in the home of my app I'm running a widget called welcome page. So take a look at the welcome page. It's just a stateless widget that is returning an empty scaffold. So the first thing I want us to do is to go to our papspec.yaml file and add some dependencies. So in my papspec.yaml file, I've added the Google Fonts dependency, and then the Ionicons package as well. And also under the assets section of my app, I've added some assets that I'll be using for this project. So when we take a look at these assets, we have the icons, right, that will be used for the categories, right? And then we also have the places. So these are random images I found on Unsplash, right, for the travel places. Now let's get started by configuring the Google Fonts package. So go to your main.dat file, and in the theme we would like to change our text theme to a Moolish text theme. So using the Google Fonts package, we are going to overwrite our text theme with the one from Google Fonts. So Google Fonts dot, then the name of the text theme you want. So I'm going to use Moolish text theme, and it may take some time for the prediction to load. Right, so good. Then within this you pass in your theme. So your text theme, that's going to be theme dot of context dot text theme, right? So this is how you set up the Google Fonts package, and after this you should restart your app. So just saving the app may sometimes break it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart the whole app. So as you can see, I'm having an error here, so I'm going to restart the whole app. So I'll stop the app, right, and restart it. So our app is now running, and let's start from the welcome page. But before that, I would like to show you the page we'll be recreating. So this the welcome page we'll be working on, right? And when we tap on the get started, it takes us to the main page. So this is the main page we'll be working on, right? So let's start from the welcome page. And in the scaffold of my app, I'm going into the body. I'm going into the body, and the body is going to have a widget, right? And the widget I'll be starting with is safe area, because I'm not going to have an app bar here. So if you don't use the safe area, you realize your content will go under the notifications, right? And I don't want to have that. I want to prevent that, so I'm using the safe area widget. And also remove the const from here. Now within the safe area, we are going to have a column widget, as I showed in the demonstration. So a column widget, and then the column widget will have some children. The first child of this column widget will be an image. So image.asset, and I've called this image illustration. So when we save, we should have the illustration there, right? Now after the image, the next thing is going to be the text, right? So the explore your journey only with us text, right? But we need some spacing first, so I'm going to create a sizer box of height 40, and this is just, you can give it any height you want, just enough space for the text. Now the text is just going to be a text widget which has the text explore your journey then a new line, right? Only with us. So when we say, realize we have your explore your journey only with us, and we want to center this text because of the new line here. So we can center the text with the text align property and give it center. Right now the text is centered, and let's apply some styles to this text. So I'm going to give it a font size of 26 rather, so 26, and then give it a font weight of bold. So right, so this is what we have. And the next thing is the descriptive text beneath this, right? So under that, I'm also going to create another sizer box. Let me copy this one and then paste it here, and reduce the height to somewhere 20, because I don't want it to be separated from this that much. And the next text is going to be all your vacations, so starting with capital, destinations, but realize the text is taking up the whole space. We want to break it somewhere at where are here, right? So just as we did for explore your journey, we are going to create a new line here, and then center this text, right? So I'm going to the text align property again and set it to center, right? And now we want to change some styles of this text. So text style, and the first thing we want to change is the color, right? So I'm going to use colors.black 54. So this is a black color but more like a gray, right? So when I save, you see the change in color. And also let's increase the font size a bit. So I'm going to change the font size to 16, and it becomes a little bit huge. And the last thing we are going to work on here is our button. So outside the text widget, we have our button. So it's going to be an elevated button, and then for now we can set the onPressed to an empty function, and then the child of this elevated button will be a text that says get started, right? So get started. And now we have the default material button, right? But we can style it. So let's use the style property, and then we are going to the elevated button the style form, right? So within this we can apply any styles we want, and the first style we want to apply is the increasing of the padding and the shape as well. So let me first change the shape to be stadium border. So stadium border is just one of the shapes in Flutter that gives you this rounded shape, right? So instead of using rectangle rounded rectangle shape and then giving it a border radius, you can just use the stadium border and that will automatically do that for you. Also, we want to increase the padding, so I'm going to change the padding property symmetric, and on the vertical I want 15, but the horizontal I'm going to leave it like that, and that will make our button look weird, but we are going to fix it. We first want our button to take the entire width of the screen, so let's wrap our button in a sizer box. You can do that from the style property, but I don't want to override the height as well, so I'm going to just wrap it with a sizer box and give it a width of double dot max finite, right? And this will make sure that our button take the full width. Now we have a problem. Our button is touching the edge of the screen, so let's wrap our whole column in a padding widget and give it a padding of 16, right? So that will make sure nothing touches the edges of the screen. Now we also want to move the shadow on the button, so within the styles of the button we can set the elevation to 0, and that will take away the shadow, right? Now the next thing we want to do is to center this whole thing. So as you can see, it looks centered, but it's not actually centered. When you work on this design on a tablet device, it's not going to be centered because the centering is done based on the largest widget in this tree, right? That's in the column. So to prove that to you, I'm going to change the width of the image to somewhere like 200, and it's working because we have the largest element right now is the get started button, right? So let me also change the get started button. Let me change the width to somewhere like 200, and now you realize things are not centered, right? But if we wrap this whole column, so starting from here, the padding, if we wrap it in the center widget, then regardless of any of the width of this widgets within the column, our design is always going to be centered, right? So I can remove the height here, I mean the width, and also set this back to double dot max finite, right? Now we have a problem because we didn't put any space in here between the description and then the button, right? Instead, I'm not going to use a sizer box, but I'm going to use a widget called spacer. So this spacer will push everything down, right? So I try to push everything up, but there is not enough space here, so to push everything down. And now our button is way too down, so in order to fix that, we just wrap a padding widget around our button, right? So I'm going to wrap a padding widget and give it a padding of only bottom of 30. So this way our button won't touch the bottom part of our screen. And also we want to push this image to the center, so in order to do that, let's go to the our column, and before the image put another spacer widget there, right? And this will push everything down, right? So it will cause this kind of centering. Now after this, let's create the home page and start with that. So I'm going to my pages directory and I'm going to create the home page. Now the home page is going to be a simple stateless widget. So and we are going to return a scaffold instead of a container. Now in our welcome page, when we tap on this get started button, we want to navigate to the home page, right? So within the on press of the elevated button, we can navigate, right? So I'm going to use the navigator dot push replacement. So there is not going to be a normal push, because when you use the normal push, the user can navigate back to the previous page, and we don't want that. So push replacement will go to the next page and then will not allow the user to go back to the previous page. And in our route, we are going to pass in a material page route, and within the builder we are going to return our page, which is the home page we created, right? And now let's press on the button and see if we go to the home page. So I'm going to press on the get started, and as you can see, we are now in the home page. So within the home page, if I write anything in the body, so I'm going to write a text of home page, and as you can see, we are actually in the home page. So this is the home page you'll be working on, and let's take a look at the home page. So this is the home page. So this is the home page we'll be working on, and in the next video we will look at how to build this home page from scratch. So if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe and comment as well. So I'll see you in the next one.